Hello, people. What is going on? Welcome back to E20 Zone TV on this Monday afternoon. I hope everyone's all well out there in the world and doing very, very good. I'm here to talk about Jarrod Bowen, criticism, fair or unfair. Mark will be along in a minute. He's going to come on, have a chat with us about current affairs at West Ham, and we're going to get into it. Before I get started, though, please do smash like on the video. It goes a long way. Subscribe to the channel and all of that. And, you know, some of the people, mate, literally, I've never known a fan base like West Ham's fan base. Yeah, I praise this fan base up quite a lot. But there is some very sensitive people in amongst us who don't like the way I come across. They don't like a few swear words. They don't like a lot of things, really. They need to get a grip. I've heard worse stuff on the terraces than I've done on this channel. Let's put it like that. So anyone who's offended by a few swear words when it comes to a passionate rant about this club, then maybe this channel ain't for you at the end of the day. I will say that. So for me, to get to the topic of conversation today, Jarrod Bowen. I think there's one thing with this club that we do, and we do it very well, is we do like to hang certain players out to dry when they think they're no good anymore. People have done it with Thomas Souček, which I think's bad, and now people are starting to go at Jarrod Bowen. Now, listen, Saturday's game, right? You've got to put this into context on Saturday's game. You have to, right? Was the service good? Was the service good at all to Bowen on Saturday? I don't believe it was, right? And I believe Wan-Bissaka played some absolute diabolical balls into Jarrod Bowen on Saturday. But nevertheless, yeah, Bowen wasn't great. But I feel like the criticism that he's getting currently right now isn't really fair for me. It really isn't. He's our leading goal scorer. And people are of the opinion that they're doing their hammer a year shouts right now, right? We've got contenders all over the place. And the amount of people that I've seen it on social media leaving Jarrod Bowen out of the conversation of hammer of the year, potential hammer of the year, right? We're asking, and I agree with that comment from Make West Ham Great Again, and we'll get that up in a minute. Yeah, we're asking Bowen to be a hero every single week. This big geezer's been a hero for the last 5 years. Like, we're asking him to literally carry this team on his shoulders, you know. And for me, I feel like the criticism isn't right. It really isn't. And I think you've got to put into context of where he is. Why is he defending so much? Why has he got to track back so much? Where's the supply line coming from in order for him to sort of do what he needs to do? Has he lost a bit of confidence, Jarrod Bowen? I would probably say yeah. I'd probably say yeah, he has lost a bit of confidence, right? But that happens with every player, right? Crescencio Somerville has had a good 6 weeks, let's say, right? Let's say before the QPR game, no one even mentioned Crescencio Somerville as a potential Ham of the Year contender. And all of a sudden, now he's a Ham of the Year contender. So I will bring Mark in shortly while Mark sorts his camera out and everything. And that is my opinion on it, really. I feel like he's harshly treated. And the reason why he's harshly treated because he's an easy target because he's captain. Do you know what I mean? And like, just to say this before I let Mark come in, yeah, there was 3 contenders for Ham of the Year. Now, let's be real, as West Ham fans right now, that we all are. There's one winner, and that is Matheus Fernandes. He's the best player so far this season who's been consistent, right? But I'm seeing people like Somerville. I've seen Mavropanos being mentioned, right? Now, Mavropanos has been good recently, right? And this is where context has to be made proper in social media and in YouTube and everything. Context is key. Mavropanos is a part of the team that has been conceding goals week in, week out before we brought Disasi in. Explain that one to me. Do you know what I mean? So he's a part of that. He's a part of that back line. Do you know what I mean? And before anyone says Kilman's not even getting on the pitch. So it's Mavropanos, it's Todibo. Do you know what I mean? So we need to put into context of like what we're trying to say here, and what we're trying to do. Do you know what I mean? Right, let's get this man in. Mark,
Yo,
what you
hey there,
saying,
mate.
mate? All good.
I need to be a bit more on time for this YouTube game, don't I? I've fucking told you I'll be on at half 4. I'm 5 minutes late, so I do apologise.
No worries at all, mate. What do you want to say about this criticism of Bowen, mate?
Do you know what, right? So before I even get on to the criticism, I was chatting to my mate the other day about people's sense of self, and I think social media has got everyone on like a massively overhyped view of their own opinion. Because like people say stuff and they think it is just because I've said it. Like Jarrod Bowen can have a couple of bad games. People just want to go online and say he is shit because it's a great thing to put on Twitter and it's maybe controversial. But like you can't. He's allowed to have a couple of bad games. He is our captain. He's been our most consistent player for the last 5 years. Can you criticise him? I'd say yes, because he gets paid a lot of money, and his job right now as captain is to pick up the team by the back of its neck and drive it forward. But he's not responsible for that on his own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't they all get paid a lot of money?
Yeah, but that's the point. So everyone's allowed to be criticised. Like, I've done my job for 17 years, but if I rock up this week and do it poorly, can my boss turn around and pull me on it? Yes. You know, but as fans, what I'm not going to have is this, he's suddenly over the hill, or he's under a lot of pressure. Like, no one wants to talk about the fact that he genuinely is under a lot of pressure, right? He's at a team that he does love the team, he does care about the club, and the team ain't played well. And as a winger, like, I'll give Saturday as a perfect example. People having a go at his performance on Saturday. Did we ever get the ball to him on a turnover, 1v1, in a situation where their defence was out of position?
I agree with you on this. I do, right? Because when I was watching that game and I was doing the watch along, Wan-Bissaka was feeding him balls into nowhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he was getting suffocated all the time, right? My issue is with this is that it's like we are too fond of keep chucking out sort of narratives about players who have give blood for this club, like Souček, Bowen. Right, people was on Soufal's case before he left. Right. There's so many people. There's so many narratives where people go, "Oh, it's his fault. It's his fault." Like the problem is with Jarrod. Yeah, I think he's lost confidence. If you want me to be honest, because there's been moments this year where I've looked at him and I'm thinking, "That's Bowen involved. He cuts inside. Let's fire the shot."
Yeah.
Right. But he's still our leading goal scorer this year. Like he's the reason why we're in the mix. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like people are too easy just to throw him to a side, Mark, if I'm being honest.
Do you think that's recency bias, though? So at the start of the season, Bowen was one of our best players, right? Undoubtedly, he was one of our best players. And without him, there's a lot of people who need to realise, without him, we ain't in with any shout staying up. Because he scored goals in the first half of this season that, quite frankly, gave us what little points we did get. Majority of them come from him, right? And players like Souček who score goals at key times. And I've been guilty in the past. This is where you got to hold your hands up when you fuck up, right? I said about Souček, and I said, I'm not sure, is he a ball player? And he's come in, and the passion and heart and fucking desire he's shown is one of the reasons we've played well in recent weeks. So you can't write a player off just because they have a couple of bad games any more than you should be up their arse because they've had a couple of great games.
There's criticising a player though, Mark, right? And I see Damien's in the chat, right, with his opinion. There's criticising a player, and then there's saying that the player's over the hill.
Correct.
Right? And you've got to put that into context. And on here, right, I always put stuff into context, right? Other people might not do it on other platforms, but I do. Yeah. On Saturday, Bowen was poor because the supply line to him from Wan-Bissaka, who, I'm going to be honest, people blow smoke firmly up Wan-Bissaka's arse, and he was crap on the weekend.
Can I say something about Wan-Bissaka as well? When we look like conceding, he's always out of position. Right? I actually get annoyed because I look at football like this. In a team, you supply your best players with the ball. Okay, so if you can get Mateus Fernandes on a half turn, if you can get Somerville or Bowen in a 1v1, they're going to be at their best. Wan-Bissaka loves to give the ball to Bowen into feet. This is what he does all the time. He gives it to him into feet and then goes on an overlap. And what that does to Bowen is he ain't getting the ball in a position where he's one-on-one and he's in the attacking thing. It's like Wan-Bissaka wants to constantly fly on the outside. And I don't know if you picked up on this, I think about 10 games ago when you were saying Wan-Bissaka spent the whole half out of position. I like Wan-Bissaka, but as a manager, I was screaming at him to drop 30 yards so often it's unbelievable. Because what happens is, him driving forward, a lot of the time their winger just goes, I'm just going to stay high. And we've conceded a lot of goals on turnover because of that as well.
What it is, you've got to look at this, yeah, with Bowen, right, and the Wan-Bissaka thing. Now, Wan-Bissaka is sometimes out of position, right? He's out of position in areas, right? That is what it is. But with the Bowen thing, yeah, I don't like how easy it is just to scapegoat a player straight away, right? When we're trying to do something, like we're trying to do something, and then people are like on it straight away, right?
Yeah.
Even at the weekend, right? No one mentions Nuno at the weekend. No one mentions anything about Nuno. The first person they go to is Bowen. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this is a man who's given 5 years of his life, 6 years of his life at this club. He scored the goal that won us in Prague, right? Is he beyond criticism? No, right? But I think you've got to choose your criticism and you've got to articulate it properly.
Has he ever pushed for a move when he was at his peak and he could have easily gone to a top 4 club? No. Did he sign a really long-term deal? Yes. So they're all massive positives about the bloke. But I think what you can't have, and this is where it gets like difficult, right? You've got spectrums. And I always love talking to you about this. At one end, you've got people who are just like vociferous and they'll just talk shit about him. Oh, he's having a bad game. The other end, you've got he's a club legend. You can never criticise in people. The truth's always somewhere in the middle. I think you need to be able to, your word context that you said a couple of times is key to everything. The context is, he's borderline club legend status already, so he could have moved and didn't leave.
I think wouldn't you say he's a club legend now?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like it'll be that gets concreted at the end of his. If he now keeps us up, for example, if he went on a mad run now and kept us up even more, he's just even more of a club legend. The goal in Prague will always put him down as he won us.
Right.
Yeah, he won us something, but that doesn't mean you get a pass forever. But what I don't like is people jumping on him. Like, he's still one of our top 5. If you're talking about top 5 West Ham players, he's top 3 all day long. So do you want to support the bloke who's clearly not getting the ball in the right areas, clearly a bit out of confidence,
right?
Or do you want to just get on his back and probably add even more pressure to him? Because we need to back these players for these last few games, mate, in my view.
I'm going to say this here before I let Damien speak, and then before he wants to say, right, as a captain, I think Bowen's poor. I'll be straight. Yeah. Right. He's not a captain lad, and maybe people need to look at that and say, right, because he's captain, that's weighed heavily on his performances, right? And that could be accurate there, right?
Yeah.
I'm not against that, right? I've never rated him as a captain. I don't think he's a captain that we need, etc. Yeah, but I don't like the way how it can easily be gone into straight away, right? When you've got to look round at other things and other scenarios other than just aiming it straight at him. I see stuff on social media on the weekend. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and some of the hate that he was getting, right? Some of it could have been trolls, right? Which you can sort of look at and go, well, it is what it is. Yeah, but some of it was from like proper accounts putting on. These are people with big platforms, and they're going at him like he's like some sort of waste man who's just come in. Like, and that to
Anyone
me,
think he missed 3 1-on-1s at the weekend and he missed every pass and all that? My point is, as a winger, if you don't touch the ball in key areas, you can't impact the game. And I'd say this as well, Nuno and how we structure ourselves is quite kind of like, it was very stodgy midfield at the weekend, right? Souček, Magassa and Fernandes. It's not like the ball was flying out to Bowen all game and he was able to just... And again, how many turnovers did we have? They were mainly actually in their half. They sort of counter-attacked us, and I don't think that suits us a lot as a club because we are a counter-attacking club. So I think no one wants to look at that. But again, it's easy to, don't look at the tactics, just pinhole it on one player because that's the fucking lowest common denominator.
Yeah, Damien, what are you saying, mate?
Jarrod Bowen, he just didn't have the team are finding their balance again, I think, and I don't know. What to say about Jarrod Bowen? He just didn't have a good game. It's as simple as that. He's not been in great form, but I don't think people should go in too heavily on Bowen at the moment, man. He's just due a goal, isn't it? It's nothing. Also, I don't know.
Right.
It's not that deep. It's not that deep. I'm definitely not in the mindset of let's bash Jarrod Bowen. Definitely not.
Right.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, but is he an easy target?
Let me touch on one thing as well, because I mentioned this during the Lopetegui era, yeah. With our friends West Ham Network, yeah. Jarrod Bowen regarding captaincy, I am telling you, this is the first manager that we've had since Moyes that is doing his job of allowing Bowen to actually flourish being a captain. Under Lopetegui, the group were not happy. under Potter, the group
Right.
was happy. Now, Nuno is not a master tactician or the perfect tactician, or hasn't shown to be the perfect tactician. I think it's more a case of he's ironing out his tactics and he's finding his feet whatsoever. But with regards to Nuno, he has managed the group well. And I think when the manager is managing the group well, it gives someone a platform to learn to become a good captain. And I think there's been less and less discussion regarding Bowen being a bad captain under Nuno than there was under Potter.
Do you think that's because there's more leaders across the pitch under Nuno than maybe we had? Like under Potter, we looked rudderless, didn't we? It looked like there weren't any leaders out there during games.
Yeah.
Tillman was a club captain
every
at
single
Wolves.
time we conceded, bro.
Yeah,
it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah, but the problem is though, Damien, is that he's not a captain, Bowen, right? And he's a player that was very good. He becomes captain, and all of a sudden he starts not being as good because he's got the weight of this club on his shoulders. Like if West Ham go down, he's the captain that was at the helm when we went down, right? I don't think it's right that people, and especially the way it was on X on Saturday night, I couldn't believe some of the stuff I was reading. And I didn't even comment on some of the stuff because I was like, I'm not getting involved in this shit because I'll be here all night.
Do you think it's just fucking scapegoating though? Like for me,
it is scapegoating, and it's not right, mate.
Saturday. We didn't play well on Saturday, right? Like I'm not going to say we played well, but I'd also say this: the West Ham of the first half of the season loses that game in the last 5 minutes, and we don't gain any points on Nottingham Forest, and we probably lose it. I'm putting that out there. I know we drew with them earlier in the season as well, so people will say that, but genuinely, I think we had a soft underbelly under Potter, and the Potter team would have definitely conceded a late goal or a corner, and we don't get any points. So for me, I could stomach the point, and especially because Forest didn't win, it's even better, right? So, but people were just doing their nuts on Saturday, because this is what I think happens. Bear in mind, a lot of people just get beard up on a Saturday, really want a West Ham win, add all day to have a drink in the afternoon or whatever. We don't win, and they just have to get their frustration out somewhere. So it just becomes go on Twitter and just talk absolute shit.
Yeah, but there's talking.
I felt like that after the game.
Yeah, but I'm not sitting there. Hold on a minute. I'm not sitting there criticising fucking Bowen straight away because Bowen doesn't run the ship. Like the first person any person should be criticising is Nuno. Because Nuno picks the players.
I'll be honest. I don't have many criticisms of Nuno that game. I think we looked defensively sound. I think our midfield was well orchestrated, but it just I look at our midfield and I think it's a bit mix and match profile wise. You expect something from Somerville out on the left, you expect something from Bowen out right, and I think that Tatty is going to have some good games, and there's going to be some games that he's not as effective as a 9. So
let me ask you this, right? I'm going to ask both of you this. So when you analyse a game, how do you look at it? And I'll ask you this first, Mark, right? And like keep the answers short as possible if you can, right? So when the game's finished, what do you look at straight away? Because I look at, right, the first person I look at personally is the manager. I go, right, is the manager set up right? Did he bring the right players on at the right times? I don't look at players.
No, see, for me, that's where it's different. When you have 20 shots and an XG of almost 3, which is what we did, it's almost like a fucking football. If anyone's ever played Football Manager, you'll know. You have a game every now and then where you have 25 shots and you just don't score, and they either score at the end or you draw the game, right? It was one of them, James. The reason I didn't overreact about Saturday was because we've been mustered recently. We have been mustered, right? We're not a top 4 club. So for context, and to use the word that's really important with all of this, for context, we're not a team that's going to just go and win 5 on the bounce or whatever, because we wouldn't be in this mess if we're not. Yes, we are a bigger club than Bournemouth. Yes, we probably have better players than Bournemouth, but look at the league table. They're ahead of us for a reason. I could take a 0-0. It was like a game where had we taken our chances, or that XG would have actually turned into a goal, no one would have complained about winning 1-0.
But the problem with that, before I let Damien say it, is that there's a lot of teams that are ahead of West Ham at the minute, and we've beaten teams who have been better than Bournemouth, i.e. Sunderland, right? Like even Newcastle, you can say, have been sort of better than Bournemouth over the season so far, right? So I'm not really buying that because they're ahead in the league, right? Because that makes no sense. Because when we go to Chelsea and we put Chelsea, literally, we have Chelsea up for 55 minutes, then we fall apart. Like, it's not about that. Like, my attitude on Saturday was this, that I look at the next 5 games. That's the most winnable game out of the next. Well, that was the most winnable game out of the next 5. Like, I'm not being funny. Liverpool away, people think we're going to go there and win. I can't see it. Right, we haven't won there in fucking about 10 years, right? And before that, it was about 50 years.
Wasn't it? Yeah, and it was like 1970 something before.
That's what I'm saying. So we're not going to go there. And I've always said Fulham's the game that I've pinpointed. That I've said, right, that is a game that we have to go all out attack, fucking throw absolute everything at it.
Fulham, they've got nothing to lose again in that game, right?
Yeah.
There's no point going there and trying to draw or whatever. Like, but just before Damien comes in, like for me, there was always going to be a game where we just stuttered a little bit. And for me, Saturday was a stutter. It's not like some pandemic suddenly set in and suddenly we're not going to stay up, or we didn't look dreadful. Bournemouth are a better side than we give them credit for, because we're West Ham, we're a much bigger club. I genuinely think they're just a well-organised side with a good manager and maybe not a massive amount of names, but they're well structured, right? And if we'd have drawn at home 0-0 against a Newcastle or someone, people would be able to stomach it more. I don't think Bournemouth are far off that level right now. It is what it is. It was just a stutter game, mate. It weren't like we didn't play badly. We also didn't play well. But if we'd have taken a chance, we win the game 1-0. No one complains.
Go on, Damien.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Regarding like the criticisms and stuff like that after the game, I feel like I was kind of guilty of it, innit? I remember feeling a little bit like that after the game. But then after I kind of settled down a bit, I started to think to myself, I think what is probably happening, or what has happened to me anyway, my expectations have slowly started to get a little bit higher of this team. And because we didn't beat Bournemouth, it's like, oh man, we should have beat Bournemouth kind of thing. Whereas I'm not sure 6 weeks ago we would have been thinking like that. So
but would you say though, Damien, just say this year, would you say that Bournemouth is more of a winnable game than the next 4?
Listen, at the end of the day, yeah, it's very easy because of the situation we're in to judge every single game in correspondence with the situation, in correspondence with...
I agree with you on that, yeah.
Fixture. But if I assess that game by itself, I think we look much better defensively. I think in terms of that midfield, yeah, I think personally they looked well organised. People were going on about our midfield massively. Oh, we finally got a brilliant midfield, blah, blah, blah. I still think it's a bit mix and match personally.
I agree.
And I feel like we look good from set pieces again. We look better from set pieces again. Both defending our own box and creating a bit of havoc in the other teams. We look a little bit blunt up front sometimes, like you're expecting a moment from Somerville or hopefully Bowen to come. But I think we look like a functional team again, which is good. And it's very easy to get dragged into the fact that we've only lost 1 game in 8. So your expectations build up a little bit. But I think we're going all right at the moment. And even going into the Liverpool game, I'm not one to put my name by, I think we're going to win this game or something like that. But my expectation is West Ham are going to go into that game and be competitive. And every game moving forward, which is kind of a good platform to build.
But the one thing I'm going to say to that, right, and this is the one thing that I am going to say, is we're going to know what Nuno's all about come Saturday, right? Is Nuno going up to Liverpool on Saturday and going there to try and win the game, or is he going in to try not to lose it? Now, the attitude is, and there's 2 ways you can look at it, right? It's like a half full, half empty sort of situation. For me, he has to go there to try and win the game because we need wins, right? But then he doesn't want to get destroyed, right? And listen, right, for how bad Liverpool can have been this season, they can still be a good side on their day and fucking go through us, no problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, it all depends on his approach, right? Is he going to be looking at that and thinking, go up there, 3 at the back, let's be hard to beat and put all our eggs in that one basket against Fulham?
We haven't got anything to defend, we haven't got anything to defend, have we? If we were ahead in the relegation zone or something like that, then yeah. But like, why wouldn't you just throw caution to the wind there? I get you don't want to lose 4-0, but Liverpool ain't been a 4-5-0 team recently. Liverpool banging form. And I think Damien's point is really important there, right? After we lost to Wolves away and after we lost to Forest at home, all of us would have been going into the Bournemouth game going, we'll probably flip and lose this one as well. As a result of the last 4 or 5 weeks, we all expected 3 points. Just like kind of with bringing this to like an England point of view, we kind of expect to get to a World Cup semi-final.
But ain't we in a situation though, Mark, right now that we're actually on the doorstep of safety?
100%. Yeah, but we gained a point. It was a net gain of 1 point, wasn't it? We took down 33% of the gap at the weekend.
Yeah.
Right? If you end the weekend, look at it bigger picture. You've got to zoom out. Do you know us as well? As West Ham fans, we're always so zoomed in to the picture. Like my mates were telling us, even when we were at our worst, they thought we were going to stay up. I had like Man United fans and people like that going, I just think you have enough to stay up. And I was going, I don't know what you're seeing. But sometimes when you've got that zoomed out picture, you look at it from a bit more like holistically and you're going, right, there's a bigger picture at play.
I understand that, Mark. I understand what you're saying there, yeah, I do. But for me, right, my personal problem with Nuno is I don't trust him to win big games in big moments, right? And the problem is he's built up a head of steam now, right? You can give him that one, right? But now we're coming to the crunch now. Right, these last 11 games are going to be, some of these are going to be hard.
Well, that's same as Moyes, though. We weren't our record against top 4 clubs under Moyes was absolutely dreadful, but we were a pragmatic team. We looked a bit more solidified at the back. I think Nuno, right, the parallels with Moyes are so there, right, in terms of
I agree.
The football is a bit stodgy at times, okay, which some of our fan base ain't going to like, and in a year's time might be a problem if we do stay up because we'd be expected to kick on. But he is pragmatic, which is coming back to the Bowen point, which is this whole video. Players like that don't benefit from a pragmatic manager. I've played only like semi-decent standard or shit standard most of my life, but I can go and play on the wing and stand there and I could have the fullback on absolute toast. But if I don't get the ball in the right area, it ain't going to come to pass. So if we're just defending in a low block, sometimes that's what happens. So with Nuno,
I'll ask both of you this. What do you reckon he's going to do on Saturday? Right, I'll say mine quick. I think he's going through at the back. Right, I think he's going up there.
No chance.
I generally do. I think he's going to go through at the back. I think he's going to go up there to try and get a point out of the game.
I think Paco would literally, they'll have a scrap because like this new guy coming in, the coach, has had an impact on Nuno's mentality to some degree.
Right.
And he's big on the training. When you see the videos, he's literally like, he's doing all the jockey and stuff. He's going mental all the time in training. He's proper like on it. And Maresca, by the way, the parallels there with this Paco guy, Maresca under Pep, right, didn't get a lot of credit, but obviously now he went on to manage on his own. Paco's had a big impact, so I genuinely cannot see us going free at the back because it will kill us if we concede in the first 10 minutes.
I agree with you on this, right? And I'll let Damien land on whatever he wants to say in a minute. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Mark. Yeah, but we've got 2 games in 4 days. We've got Liverpool on the Saturday. We've got Fulham on the Wednesday. I don't think he's going to go up to Liverpool, right? Go all guns blazing against Liverpool, right? Because if we go toe to toe with Liverpool, we're going to get done. Simple as that, right? He's going to play cagey up there. He's going to be right. He's going to go up there to try and be hard to beat, right? He's going to try. What he's going to do is going to try and play counter attack up there, right? And maybe Traore might come into his own. I've got a bit of a problem with Nuno with this Traore thing. We've signed a player, and he seems like now he's not a fan of him. Do you know what I mean, Damien? What do you want to say, mate?
No, I lean towards he goes very similar to how we played against Bournemouth. The thought of him going 5 at the back has crept into my mind, but I think he has he has faith in our back 4. I have faith in our back 4. I look at our back 4, I'm like, we've got 2 centre backs at the moment that will head out anything, and in my opinion, 2 absolutely outstanding fullbacks, and I don't really think going 5 at the back. You see it with Spurs and Arsenal. Going 5 at the back just invites pressure a lot of the time, and I think you probably go with a 4 at the back. To be honest,
I think he used the Burton game in the cup as a tester for the upcoming games.
No, with the 5 at the back stuff in the cup, yeah. I think he uses 5 at the back in the cup. This is how I see it with that kind of stuff. Because you think to yourself, you're going to play 4 at the back against Man United, but then you'll go and play 5 at the back against Burton, yeah? Do you know what I think he does in those situations? And I kind of get it, yeah? Is to dominate the ball at the back, yeah? And make it kind of an easy day at the office and kind of take pressure off the players. So they're just dominating the ball. Basically, against QPR, we played with a 5 at the back, and there's absolutely no reason for us to be fearful of QPR. And it's not. I don't think we're playing 5 at the back to stop their attacks. I think it's just to keep the ball in those situations and just be like, keep the ball, turn up to their place, show them that if you want to keep the ball, it's yours basically, and you're the superior team, and get a job done. So
but he's looking at that, right?
I think it's more possession orientated than block your goal 5 at the back.
I can't see Nuno going up to Liverpool, going 4-3-3, going like for like against them. I just can't. Right? If he does do that, then I will I'll take my hat off and say fair play, mate. Right? Because he'll prove me wrong if we go 4-3-3 up there. It all depends on how he feels about the game. Obviously, there is a bit of in-game management here he's got to do. And he's got 2 games in 4 days. He's going to have to make sure that the players get enough time on the pitch and then obviously get subbed off at the right times and things like that. I'm a bit concerned, Mark, about the how tired our players get. I watched Nottingham Forest yesterday. They come out the traps all guns blazing and they're in Turkey on Thursday. Do you know what I mean? And they come back and they're playing Liverpool. Like, what do you make of our sort of energy?
I don't know, it's just adrenaline. The thing is, though, at home to Liverpool, all the players have got high adrenaline. We could play a game 3 days ago, and at home to a big club, we'll bust about for the first 10 minutes. Like, as the game went on, Forest looked a lot worse. If you think about the end, in the last 10, it was only really Liverpool that looked like scoring. So I think it's easy to look at the first 10 minutes of a game. They are professional athletes at the end of the day. Like, they could run every day for 50 kilometres if they had to. Do you know what I mean? And they would be tired, and maybe the speeds would go down, but they'd still get it done. So I don't read into that one too much. When it comes to us away at Liverpool and then the Fulham game, why don't you just look at it as a continuation? It's not like, because if you go away to Liverpool, try and draw, play 3 at the back, 2 things. One, you're changing. We had 2 back-to-back clean sheets in the Premier League, right? Which we haven't done. It's mental if you think about that. We had 2 back-to-back in the last 2 games, right? Why would you then change that to try and continue getting clean sheets? That wouldn't make sense. Because then you've got to go back to a 3, then you're training in a 3, and then for the next game for Fulham, you've got a quick turnaround and you're training in a different system. To me, just stylistically, that wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, but he's also got to look at the goal difference here and all, mate. That's another
really, but Liverpool ain't been banging teams 4-5-0 even at home, have they?
Yeah, but even if we go down 2-0, right, it's still a problem. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, Nuno's a defensive-minded manager. Like, we all know that. He's ultra defensive. When West Ham go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, he has a nosebleed, right? And the thing is with him, can I see him going to Liverpool and going toe-to-toe with him? I just can't see it. I'll be stunned, mate. Right. One thing
Even if we played 4-3-3, it wouldn't be toe-to-toe, though. It'll probably be Magassa and Souček again. Because like Damien said, stylistically, our midfield is one person who wants to do give-and-go quick football in Mateus, and the other 2 who are like a bit more stodgy, sort of like get stuck in, blocky type players, right? So that doesn't necessarily work. But if you play them 2, you've pretty much got a low block there with your midfield. It's as far to being a 7 at the back as you're going to get. So why do you need any more than 7 players at the back? So I get your point, but I don't think if you play 2 holding midfielders, it's different. If we still when Paqueta was here, if we'd have played like Mateus, Paqueta, and Potts, right, 4 at the back, you'd go, well, fucking hell, we're really going for this. But with 2 holding midfielders in front of a 4, it's still quite defensive, really. We're not going to go and be expansive there, are we? We're definitely ain't going to go toe-to-toe. I don't think anyone, if we go toe-to-toe with them, we will lose, right? Because they've just got to do one through ball over the top, Salah cut back or something like that. Ekatike is a great player. They've got a lot of talent there. We'll play within our own half and we'll look to play on the counter-attack.
Right.
I don't see why playing 5-2-3 benefits us, because every time we've played 5 at the back, we've conceded more goals. If you look at us throughout the season, we've played 5 at the back, we've conceded more goals per minute than we have played 4 at the back. So it just wouldn't make any sense.
Do you think, so what are you saying, Damien? Do you think he goes, what are you predicting Saturday for you?
Oh, I'm not one for predictions, but I'd say we give a good account of ourselves either way. I'd say we're competitive. I wouldn't like to. Listen, Liverpool are the favourites, right? I think we give a good account of ourselves either way. If we got a draw, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, we got a draw. I expect us to be competitive in every single game we play in at the moment, which to me is a positive sign. In terms of Liverpool as well, I think there's a couple of weaknesses in their side. I don't think I watched them against Nottingham Forest. I don't think they're absolutely flying at the moment. There's a couple of players in our team that I'll take over their players, mainly at the back, to be honest. That
Oh yeah, to use a better left back than Kirkes. And by the way, Bowen could have a good game because that Kirkes ain't all that, and they've only got Robertson, who's well past his prime, I would say now. Still a decent defender, but not like at the level he was. So, like, to take Damien's point, they've definitely got weaknesses. This ain't the Liverpool team. When everyone started the season, all of us were like, they're going to win the league. They won it last year. They've brought all these players in. They've gone and got Isaac now. It's done. It's dusted. They're not. They're basically having to compete for top four. So we're not talking about a Liverpool team that's going to steamroll us 4-0. Like, we are, I see us being competitive and probably losing it in like the last 10, and us going into Saturday night being frustrated we didn't get a point, maybe, and going, if we play like that against Fulham, we'll probably win, which is how I literally see it going. I think we'll lose by 1 or 2 goals, and it will be like, oh, but we had some good moments in the game, and if we play like that against Fulham, we'll probably win. I'd probably take that as well.
So let me ask you both then, right? Because I've done a video last night, and I never spoke to you both last night. So we've got 4 games coming up. We've got Liverpool, Fulham, Manchester City, and Villa. I'm not going to bring up the Brentford game, right? Because it's irrelevant. How many points we get? I see 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, I see a win at Fulham. All right, I don't know why I fancy West Ham to beat Fulham. Right, even though Fulham are, and I've looked at their form this year so far. They don't draw many games. It's either they win one or lose one. They've drawn 4 games all season so far.
Yeah, they're very hit and miss as well. They can either turn up or they don't. And if we catch them, right, we could easily roll them over.
Easily, yeah. So I'm looking at the Fulham one. Right, that's the one where I think West Ham could do some damage. And Villa away, I can see a draw. I don't see us beating Man City. The Liverpool one, like, I understand that they're not in good form, but it's just history, and history doesn't lie, right? It just doesn't lie with us. You know what I mean? What are you saying, Damien?
I'm very much on the same page as you. Fulham, I trust us against Fulham. Villa, I reckon we could give a really good account of ourselves. I'm more fearful of City than I am Liverpool. I'd be more prone to giving Liverpool a game and shithousing against City than shithousing against both. Basically, if he wanted to shithouse against City, I'll be fine with that. Yeah. I wouldn't mind us giving Liverpool a game. I'll be honest, I would not mind us giving Liverpool a game. I watched them against Forest. I think Salah not only looks faded as a player, he was laughing every time he gave the ball away, thought it was absolutely ridiculous that he should be subbed off, even though he was playing absolutely rubbish. Gakpo's hit and miss. Ekitike's a big threat.
Yeah.
They're midfield.
They're one of their best players at right back as well, Damien. So
And that's another right back. That's another
their best player.
That's another thing. Their fullbacks is an issue. Sometimes Van Dijk looks a little bit like Mavropanos and Disasi are more prone to being combative and getting their head on stuff than certainly Van Dijk is. So I think we can give them a game. I always look at Liverpool like this with our current squad, for what we are as a side, Go out and match them. That I would say to the likes of Magassa, for example, what is Gravenberch doing that you're not doing that is making him being considered one of the best DMs in the league? And why you're considered a prospect.
So in one way, do you treat this game like a free hit then?
Yeah, it is.
I treat it as keep going, the same way you played against Bournemouth. Go and do the same thing again. I think wouldn't want to take the back step at this stage.
Yeah, we're going to have to turn up like we did against Chelsea against this lot. Right. If we turn up against we was against Chelsea, then I will say, right, yeah, I believe. Right. If we turn up against Bournemouth, I just think that it'll only be a matter of time before Liverpool go through us. Do you know what I mean?
We didn't play through at the back at Chelsea, though, did we?
I was thinking that the other day, Mark, funny enough. Right. And I was just thinking that there. When I was thinking about it and you were speaking, I was like, even against Chelsea, he did sort of go a bit braver in his approach. And the thing is, I want Nuno to be brave because we have to be brave now. And the problem is, I don't want West Ham to run out of games and run out of time. None of us do, right? None of us want that.
Do you not think it's about maintaining speed? Like we've sped up, right? In simple terms, we've sped up. If we stay at the same velocity we've been at in recent games, but Liverpool faster than us and better than us and outperform us,
yeah,
then just stomach it and hold it. But like Damien said, if you have a continuation of like form and we look like we're up for it and we're defensively solid and we don't make stupid mistakes or just flap corners into our own goal or give the ball away in stupid areas, you'll be able to take you're sort of expecting a loss. So if you're a competitive loss, you come away from that and go, right, let's go into Fulham. We've got.
But I think it's more to the point, though, Mark, of the position that we're in. If we was 2 points above the relegation zone, then you can treat it like a free hit. Where we're fighting to get out of this, and my only problem is that the only problem is with it, and it really is a problem, is that do we have it in us to sort of go and win big games, right? Because there's going to come a time where we're going to have to win a game that we're not expected to win. Can we do that? That's
Liverpool or City. Like, look, it's not unthinkable. It'll be like it's not unthinkable that we go and get a point out of one of them games, right? Man City is very unlikely because they are well on it at the moment, and they look like a much better side. They've got Gay at the back, and he's like solidified them defensively. They look a much more City team than they were probably 6 months ago. But why not? Like, if we're playing every game like a cup final. A wounded animal is a dangerous animal, yeah? Like, you wouldn't go up, don't matter how small the animal is, if it's caught in something, it's wounded, it's dangerous. So for me, we are a wounded animal at the moment, and we're playing every game like that. So I just don't think, like, we don't have anything to fear going into it, apart from getting slapped 5-0, but I don't think we're staying up on goal difference, mate. I'll just put that out there as well. Like, I don't see us staying up on goal difference. We're already 4 behind.
Yeah, so you think it's points based then?
Yeah, so I just think once you start thinking about goal difference, that to me is that's like being a boxer, and instead of looking to knock your opponent out, just trying to win on points. Like, you're banking on the judges going with you. You're banking all the things coming together to win on goal. It probably ain't going to fucking work out like that. So I think we've got to win it on points. So why not go there, give it a go? Listen, if we went into the last 10 minutes 2-1 up and come away with a draw or something, again, we would all probably be gutted and everyone will have a big overreaction. Because, by the way, like, disappointment's a completely normal feeling to have, and everyone's allowed to be disappointed. Just don't overreact with the disappointment. Like, we could draw there, and people would still be doing their nut and calling out players if we get a draw there at the weekend, because that's football, isn't it? So
I'm going to come to the comments quickly. Yeah, I've seen people saying, I see Cross Hammers there saying, yeah, leave Bowen alone. Right, stop being sensitive. Right, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say it once. Stop being sensitive. It's a discussion, right? We are allowed to speak openly on E20 Zone TV because this is my platform and it's an open platform to speak about anything you like, ladies and gentlemen. So we are allowed to speak about it, right? Right? And there's a term called agree to disagree, and do you know what I mean? Respecting each other's opinions, whether you like the person or not.
By the way, even if you love Bowen, right? He wanted to be captain. So any of you follow cricket in any format, when the player becomes captain, they get a lot more criticism. And Joe Root himself was taken off of captaincy. He's probably England's best batsman in however many years. They took him off captaincy because it had a negative impact on his performances. So stop thinking that anyone that says anything about Jarrod Bowen, it either doesn't like him or has got an agenda. He's been one of our best players consistently for years. Since he's been captain, he hasn't been as good, and his leadership's not at a level where you can see him busting into it. He's not Mark Noble, do you know what I mean? Who, by the way, every game in the first 10 minutes, you know what you're going to get from him, and he was a leader with voice. So you are allowed to criticise the captaincy, but I wouldn't start saying that anyone who says he's shit or over the hill is just talking nonsense. But you are allowed to criticise the bloke because he wanted the job.
Right, let me ask you this, yeah. Obviously, we witnessed yesterday results going in our favour. Right, which was big. I'll be honest with you. When you look at it now, us getting that point and them teams failing to get any points, right, it turned out okay in the end. It could have been a lot better, though, in my opinion, but listen, we're settled for okay. What are you both saying about the teams above us? Because I think there's problems at Spurs, right? I watched Spurs game yesterday and I was like, fuck me, they are bad, mate. Right?
I'll go on that one. Spurs are dreadful, bro. Honestly, and I love saying this, yeah. But I'm being objective at the same time. Spurs are gash. I mean, whoever told you that Mickey van der Ven is £100 million centre back, they're lying to you. I don't like drag us in. I'm not having this one. Archie Gray at right wing back. Whoa. So in my opinion, I don't watch Spurs all the time, but I think they just got pressured by the fans to sack Frank, and I've got a feeling they might get worse. Than
I agree on this.
how bad they were. I'm not one to judge too quickly, but I do think that first impressions count, and what your general kind of feeling is on someone is you can take something from that. That gaffer that they've got, I'm sorry. When I'm reading a lot of social media with Spurs, I like this guy, as the kids call it, yeah. Coping needs them or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
The coping mechanism. That's what it is.
I've been there. I've sat there and I thought to myself, who is this geezer who strolled up in Lopetegui? And I find myself writing paragraphs online saying we need to back Lopetegui.
I know exactly what you mean there.
Anything's good. So that geezer, listen.
And he's an interim.
I think he was scared of getting throttled.
He was
scared of getting throttled.
He is an interim, yeah.
That's a terrible move. Like, if you're Tottenham and you go out and sack Frank, right?
Awful.
If you're getting an interim, you get someone who's got a link to the club, like what Man United did with Carrick. A lot of time you get an interim to the end of the season, you bring in someone who's got links and you just go, they'll get us enough points to go over the line. That Tudor guy has got no links to Spurs whatsoever. He was at Juventus. I think he won none of 7 games and got sacked. So that's a great record to go into with that. They're like absolutely dreadful. And then on top of that, you bring him in as an interim. So he's got no future and no skin in the game. So why is he going to care if they stay up or not?
He already looks dejected. He's looked at it. He's thought to himself,
True.
I didn't make a good first impression.
Yeah.
I'm counting down the days. That's literally what I got from him after that game. It was kind of like, well, that was exactly what everyone was expecting. Let's just go through the motions. I'm not going to be here next season. Let me just take them through the motions. That is, honestly,
I think they're banging trouble, mate. If you want me to be honest, right, and this is why I'm very passionate about this when I say, we need to get above these teams now, yeah, because the moment is now to get above these teams because they are falling apart. Spurs look fucking awful, mate. And honestly, I've got Spurs mates who was saying to me for the last 2 months, right, was saying, West Ham are going down. They say fuck all to me now. They literally say,
worried, mate.
They are concerned, mate.
They're imploding.
West Ham might catch us. He ain't joking because he loves raining on West Ham as well. The moment we're shit, O'Hara will be all over TalkSport raining on us, right? And he does it for banter as well. And he plays golf for Bullard and all that. Who's obviously a West Ham fan. I don't think he hates the club, but at the end of the day, it's rivalry, right? I've got mates who are going over to Spurs who are saying the atmosphere is fucking shit. The moment we can see the goal, it's flat. For all of their stadium being miles better than us, and it is because it's a great stadium, right? It's terrible there. They start losing a game, they're booing their own players off at half time. Mate, if we get level on points with them, they will shit a brick. And I said to my mate, and I'm in a like WhatsApp with loads of people. I said to my mate who's a Spurs fan, like, you genuinely might go down. And he weren't joking. He was like, no, we might. Like they're sat there and they are worried. We panicked 2 clubs into firing their managers. And Frank was their project manager. He was like, Levy's gone. We're going to back him. We're going to go and push on. And then literally West Ham get within a few points and they're like, see you later, mate. And now they've got an interim who I don't think he's not going to be there next year, is he already? So you're like, what's going to happen now? So they're shook. They are shook, but it does rely on us to capture them. I don't know what their fixtures are. What are their fixtures like up until the end of the season?
They've got 2 games coming up next where they've got Fulham away and then they've got Palace at home. I think if they don't get out of them games without any wins, like let's say they draw them 2 games, right? I think they're in trouble, right? And this is why West Ham have to somehow pull a win out from somewhere where we can put the pressure on them. The reason why these teams are worried is because West Ham have put the pressure on recently. Yeah, they've been building up ahead of steam. And someone quoted my fucking short that I put out the other day, where I said about the horse racing term of coming from like the back of the pack late and hitting that line late in the day. What it is with Spurs is that they're starting to go down. They're slowly dropping down, yeah. And the problem is they've got the bracket at the minute of the 4-point gap plus the goal difference. So when you add it up, it's 5 points technically that they've got on us. And we need to get to them. I think they are major. I think they're more of a problem of going down than Forest. Even though I do think Forest could go down, right? So
I think it's Forest, then Spurs, then you're looking at Leeds or one of the other 2 teams. Obviously,
I think it's the other way round. I think I think Spurs are the vulnerable ones. I really do. I think that
Are you saying that? Are you saying that football term though, Damien? Or are you saying that because
I'm saying that in football terms. Spurs struggle to get out of their own third for 45 minutes against Arsenal. I mean, they couldn't even get out, let alone their own half, their own third. They couldn't get out of. They looked so poor. They look so poor, Tottenham. Their keeper's rubbish. Their centre backs are overrated beyond words. I think I don't. If we played them next weekend, I'd go in with the exact same feeling that I went in with Burnley. 3 points. I want 3 points. The momentum we're in at the moment and the momentum they're in at the moment. If we turn up to Spurs, I know we just played them recently and beat them, but I feel like we've gone a couple more small steps in the right direction and they've gone a couple more small steps in the wrong direction. If we played them this weekend, I'd be like, go and get me 3 points, please, lads.
Do you think it's all started getting on top of them teams as well? Like they weren't expecting us to start catching them because we were fucked basically. After Forest, everyone was like, bottom three's decided. And then all of a sudden, things have happened. Like the pressure's come off of them very quickly. If you're a player in their dressing room now, like there is pressure on you all of a sudden where they've been shit for ages. Like bear in mind, 2 seasons now they've been down there. So if teams would have been worse in the bottom three last year, they could have got relegated. Like they were that bad. Them and Man United were both dreadful. Now if you look at it, like they haven't exactly got. It's not like they can turn it around. A bit like your thing with a kind of horse racing. Once you start to slow down and feeling fucked, the person behind you's got a bit of momentum. How many times have you seen an 800 meters Olympic final where one's just, like trying to get to the line, like and
I've seen it.
Busting past them, man.
I've seen it, mate.
I've seen that in physically before. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see when someone's slowing down towards the line and someone picks up a head of steam. Yeah. I do feel a bit like that with Spurs at the moment. I'll be honest. I do feel
but I feel like with this situation, we have to get within the next 4 games, we have to at least be a point behind them, I think. Right? I think if if they go and get a win or two, or they say they win one, lose one, they're starting to get away from it. Do you know what I mean?
You want me to be honest? This is and I've been watching a lot of Spurs social media recently, and they're kind of accurate. They're obviously, as all fan bases are, exaggeratory, but they one of them made a good point on the old Spurs, one of the Spurs channels. It took Nuno a little while to find his feet, and now I'm starting to see it's almost Moyes-esque where he's not going to go too far away from the script. It's kind of, some people might have said, I wish he brought Wilson on 10 minutes earlier. It's like, all right, you know what I mean? Well, he picked the right 11 and they look well organised and they look good at set pieces, and he's not going to steer too far away from the script. And that means the momentum's generally going to at least stabilise or continue to go in the right direction. Your man played Paulinho at centre-back. He played Archie Gray right wing-back. He still hasn't picked... He's still not sure what shape...
Yeah, but Damon, that's the one thing I can give Nuno some praise for. He's been here longer. He knows the players. The players will know what we're trying to do.
I think players like Nuno as well. Let me just put that out there in his credit. I think they're responsive to him. If you compare it to Potter, I think they're responsive to him. I see in the pictures... Big personalities in that group go towards Nuno as soon as they come out of that little shed that they chill in there. As Nuno's waiting there, they go straight to Nuno, hugs, handshakes, pats on the back. Let's have a good training session, mate. Your man there, Tudor, he doesn't know people's names yet, so he can do the whole kind of. I think we're in a healthier place in terms of form.
I think we're in a better position than them. Now I look at this from a betting aspect. If I was backing who's going to start out of West Ham or Spurs, I'm backing us because what we're doing currently right now, what we have been doing. it's going to be interesting in the next 2 games with Tudor because you know exactly if he's up for this or not, right? And if he ain't up for it, then we've got to get to this team because they are the team that are dropping down the pan a little bit. I look at Forest. I'm not convinced by Forest either. And I'm seeing Forest fans literally shit.
I thought they looked all right.
Yeah, but I think what it is with Forest, they've got a lot of huff and puff, but they never blow the ass down. And they're in Europe and all. They're going to qualify to the next stage of Europe. Listen, we all know, we've all been there, right? When you're trying to do a Thursday, Sunday situation and you're trying to stay in the league, that's hard work. Like, that is really hard work. That you're flying somewhere, then you've got to come back. And, you know, it is what it is. But it's sort of, for me, I think we can hunt these teams down. I believe we can get to these teams. I just hope we can get to them in time, though. That's the problem. Like, because we need to win a game when they lose a game or they draw a game and just keep pulling them closer. Like, and let's be real, we should really be out of this relegation dogfight right now. Like, we should have beat Manchester United. We should never have lost against Chelsea, right? And if you want to say the Bournemouth game was a draw, right, or we should have won that, maybe that one and all, right? You can toss it up in the way you like. So there's moments. What are you saying, Mark?
Well, there's so many games we just didn't compete in as well, though. Like, what is it? The stat was it took us our last 10 points took us 5 games to get. The 10 points before that took us 15 games to get. So, and in the same time, I think they'd said something like Spurs have got like 3 out of 21 or 4. It's very low numbers. So in terms of like catching teams up, it's definitely possible. But I still wouldn't rule out a win where we don't expect one. Like, who have Forest got this weekend, by the way?
Brighton away.
Okay, and we've obviously got. And who plays first? What's the order of the games?
We are Saturday, they're Sunday.
So there you go. So, like, again, we do an unthinkable. We go and get a draw. Again, I just don't see us getting 3 points because of history, and it's too many times I've seen us go up there and false hope and all that. But if you're suddenly ending this weekend 1 point behind them, and you're going into the next week where you beat Fulham and they lose, and suddenly you're 2 points in front of them, like
I've said this though, Mark. I've said this. I've done the pathway to safety video, and I literally went through it, and I said that we play a lot of games before these teams because they've got Europe. And the problem is where they've got Europe, right? We get to put the pressure on them, and it is because of that, right? I'll fucking say that, right? It's because we've put pressure on these teams. That's why they've. Well, I'm going to say it, their arseholes falling out a little bit, if I'm being truthfully honest, right? And they are fucking scared, worried about going down. Spurs fans are worried, right? They're worried. Forest fans think they've got a chance with Pereira, right? But Spurs fans are worried because it's a lot of unknowns with them. Right?
I love this Pereira talk though. Like, this geezer, right? He had one. It looks like he had one semi-good spell with Wolves where he came in. And by the way, so did Gary O'Neill because he came in and kept him up as well. No one fucking talks about that. Gary O'Neill ain't being touted for a job to go and keep a Premier League team up. He's the reason Wolves are fucking so shit they had to go and get Edwards in and start planning for the Championship 6 months before the end of the season. The way he reacted to that goal they conceded last minute against Liverpool, just like childish shit, if you ask me. And that ain't going to fly with Marinakis, who's like fucking wants to run it. You know, another Soviet Union fucking style director like our own very own David Sullivan. And so they are in a bad position. Damien said it earlier on. Our players, what they have got with Nuno that we didn't have under Potter is passion. Because he's a passionate man. Whatever you think about him, he makes you feel something. Everyone feels something about Nuno. Other than the memes and the face swap memes, which are fucking brilliant, how did we feel about Potter? For me, we were like a limp handshake, mate. It was just like there was nothing to it. It was just we would just look like we were going to get rolled over. He would come out and just placate the media. Do you know what his whole thing was about? How you react to being in bad situations. Don't build a fucking team. Don't build your whole thing around being in bad situations. Whereas Nuno is not. Nuno is how can we be positive as a club? I just say my point. He is Moyes 2.0 Nuno, and it won't be the same because he's not British, because he's Portuguese. People won't have the same attachment to him.
I think he's worse. I think he's a little bit worse than Moyes, if I'm honest.
I think again that's reason.
I think he's a little bit better. I don't know what. I love Moyes. Do not with Moyes. I feel like he's very Moyes, and this is fact. Yeah, Moyes is every single course there is to do. And I reckon a Moyes training session is, if someone was to come in and grade it across the week, they'd say, you've ticked all the boxes there, mate. That's a top quality training session. And Moyes, I feel like once Nuno starts ironing out his little creases,
Right.
And starts finding the river, like, for example, and this is no disrespect, right? So, for example, yeah, a little tiny thing that I see is he brought on Ollie Scholes for the last 10 minutes of a game when Diop was having a good game against Diallo. And it's like, was that really necessarily? I wasn't against it, but I was like, probably wasn't necessary. Little things like that, I just feel like are starting to get ironed out. And I feel like once he starts learning his team a little bit, I feel like he might have a little bit of a.
I agree with you on that.
More
Wow.
drawn to him than more.
Especially in flair areas, Damien, as well. Like, I think Somerville would do better in a Nuno team than like Somerville would have done in the Moyes team. Because we were very pragmatic. We played Paqueta out on the left. And
but the one thing I'm going to say on that, right? I agree with what Damien's saying. There's time, and there was like, you've got to give the geezer time. You've got to give him time to get his players and things like that, and have a pre-season summer transfer window. And I understand all that. I really do. I do think though, in certain games from now to the end of the season, you're going to see if he's ultra defensive or not, because there's going to come a time where we're 1-0 up, 2-1 up in a game going into the 90th minute or 80th minute. Is he going to sit there and try and get the third, or is he going to try and shut up shop and try and see it out? Now, and that's the thing that worries me with him a little bit. I'm not a fan of Nuno, right? But I'm not one of these people that are going to sit and keep saying, "Oh, Nuno out, Nuno out." I'm not like that, right? I'm not a fan. For me, I look at him, and that's what scares me a little bit with him.
Let me ask you a question then. If we go down, would you like to see him go?
With me, with managers, I just want to see the best at this club, mate. And with Nuno, if we go down, I don't know. I don't even want to think about going down, Mark. If I'm being honest.
But genuinely, have we seen enough in his time to go? Well, look, that we could go and build around him and come back up and be a solid Premier League team, or have we seen enough from him that we could be a solid Premier League?
I agree with you on that. Don't forget, he arrived in October, right? And his first game was Everton away, right? So I understand that as he had enough time to sort of integrate in, but managers are getting sacked after fucking 4 months, mate.
You liked Moyes because Moyes took away the pain of having Sullivan as an owner.
Right.
Since we've had Nuno, the Sullivan factor has been less, because you seem like you've got a man who might be a good foil and shield to the fucking Sullivan bullshit. Like, we come out of January, let's face it, we might have spent 50 mil on 2 strikers. We had a fucking terrible January window. And yet Nuno's come out of that with a team that's put in performances that have got us back in contention already. We're not even at the end of February and we're saying we are fucking in contention, right? So going into Jan, we had conversations in December saying if we don't get Jan right, we're fucked, we're down. We didn't get Jan right. Overall, I don't think anyone scored our transfer window more than a fucking 7 out of 10. So we didn't get Jan right and we're still competing.
Yeah, like the thing is, it's whether or not Nuno wants to stay here, though. That's another thing. Like, another thing I know that is a little bit of a concern, and it is a concern, is the Traore signing. Like, this is another thing that is a bit of a concern, that certain times where we've brought him on, he hasn't been great, right? Should he have come on at the weekend? I think he should have done if we're trying to win the game.
Opportunity, by the way. So when we're grading Nuno, it's fair. It's fair to say that we could have made more progressive subs during the game. But I think it's also fair to say, other than Traore, who the fuck did he have to bring on an attacking position? He brought on
but the problem is Traore's he's signing though, Mark.
No, I get that, but let's also give it history and context, right? Two words we've mentioned a lot. Historically, he's not a great end product player, and contextually, he hasn't ever had a consistent output for a team in terms of goals and assists ever. So he was brought in as a £2 million body, right, to bring on, and hopefully he might do something. I would not be, if we're banking in the last 10 minutes for Adama Traore to come on and get a clutch moment. We are fucked.
Yeah, but I can't get on board with that, because that's his boy. But as his man, who he's wanting to.
No, he just signed him for $2 million because he had fuck all transfer window, and he's got Sullivan as an owner, and he had no choice.
But the problem is,
the player's character.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, Mark, right, is that if this is, he might know the player's character, right? I'll give you that one. But the problem is, as he's signing, do you know what I mean?
I know, but it's not a 25 million scouting for the last
but is the money irrelevant in this?
No, because it was like low hanging fruit. His contract was running out in summer. You said all through the transfer window.
Totally agree.
Banker, we're going to sign Adama Traore.
It was
And
on
we're
the
not gonna
cards, yeah.
sign him, but we're not going to sign him because he's the fucking answer to all of our problems. We're going to sign him because he's cheap, because he's got 6 months left. He's a very Sullivan signing. Nuno knows him. It was like a match made in heaven. It wasn't a let's go and get someone who's going to come in and compete with Somerville and Bowen.
Yeah, he's not building the club around him.
You weren't. Yeah, he wasn't. He was like he's filling up. He's poly filler for the end of the season, right?
Mate, Moyes made some stonkers, and Moyes is one of the best managers we've ever had. 30 million on Vlasic. Those kind of ones away from the context of success is like, what were you thinking, Geese? So
yeah.
Right. Let me ask you this year before we come to the end.
To answer Mark's question, sorry, because I wanted to answer that question because it's something I've been thinking about a lot in the last couple of days, yeah? Honestly, if Nuno can keep us going the way we've been going over the last 5 or 6 games, whatever the weather, I personally would keep Nuno, is my stance. I would. I think the club need consistency. I think you're seeing hard-fought, well-organised performances from the team. And I do actually feel like we're operating at kind of in and around the optimum of what we are as a team at the moment.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, if you can keep that up,
right,
if we can stay up and we can add a couple more, a bit more firepower. I look at a bit more firepower and a bit more physicality. If we can stay up, I reckon Nuno has the capacity to make us a good side. If we don't, and I don't even like speaking about that. If we don't, I would expect Nuno to steady the ship basically and work with what comes our way in the summer. And probably give us a really good chance of going straight back up.
Yeah,
so that's how I look at it. It's kind of what's really, if I genuinely believe if we stay up and Sullivan puts his hands in his pocket, and I have to add this bit, sorry, because the devil's in the detail, yeah? This is what I want from Nuno, yeah? And I want our fans to listen to this and promote this message. Players like Diouf, yeah, Boss Baby, El Haj Malik, yeah, was not a Mendes client. Players like AWB was not a Mendes client. Players like Bowen was not a Mendes client, yeah. Players like Somerville were not Mendes clients. I don't want to see West Ham say yes to every single Mendes client. I want hand-picked profiles come into this club because of their ability. Even if they're big fish in small ponds like Diouf was, I'm all on that. I like Nuno as a manager. If there's one thing I want from Nuno is to try and make this team his own and not turn us into Mendes FC. If he can avoid that, I am 100% behind Nuno.
Yeah. Before you wrap up,
well, hold on. I'm just going to say this, yeah. I'm going to have to let Damien go because someone wants to come in. But Damien, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Take it easy, mate.
Right, let's bring this man in. Right, this man is famous, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get to this, yeah. He's a famous person. He was on the mean streets of Burton the other week with like with the no BS, right? And this is a man who was, yeah. Here he is. Richard.
That's as good as it gets, isn't it?
That is it, mate. Listen, when I see your boat race on TV, mate, I thought E20's own TV. 100%. Right, what are you saying, Rich? Take it away.
For the record, I've just tuned in. I was listening to you both talking about Traore. I make you both right, to be fair. I think it's you're absolutely right to point out this is his signing, but at the same time, it's not, he's not broken the bank for this. And I think I was watching the Forest game yesterday, and he took off Hudson-Odoi for this fella Delane Bakwa. They spent 30 million quid on in the summer. I don't know if you're watching that game. That Bakwa fella is terrible, miles off this level. And he brought him on, and the team got worse, and he probably should have got a red card, actually, I thought. And anyway, it resulted. The end happened. They didn't keep the momentum going. And I think sometimes you take off a player like Somerville or Bowen for someone like Traore off the bench, it's going to weaken your team. And then you take Traore on for another midfielder, all of a sudden your shape goes. So I think that's why he stayed off the pitch. He wasn't going to make that team any better.
Right.
And there are some games where it's going to be called for, like Man United. You're sinking deeper, a lot of pressure. He's a great outlet. That's why we've brought him in. You know, I see the appeal, but for me, that's why he didn't come on the other day. It wasn't a case of, you know, this player isn't good enough, full stop. It's just, it wasn't right for him at the time.
Right, let me ask you something, Rich. Yeah, obviously I ain't spoke to you for a while. Obviously, situation at West Ham has changed, right? West Ham are literally in this now, and they're up for the fight. And obviously the Spurs game, for me, was the moment when West Ham decided to turn up this season. And when we beat Spurs, that was like the catalyst to move forward. First off, what do you make of Nuno? Because obviously we've had the shit. He's somehow come through the shit. He's doing okay at the minute. And where do you think we're landing this year for you?
I mean, it's one of those things. You know, praying wise, I desperately hope we stay up. I think there's a chance we do. You know, but you look at a couple of those recent games, the two recent ones, Man United and Bournemouth at home, and you just go, if we could have got over the line in both of those, we're almost out of it, you know, and that's 4 points. But on the reverse, you look at that and you go, you know what, the performances were really good, but it's not performances at this point. We just need to get some wins. But I think generally speaking, we look like an actual football team. We look like we can give any team a go. I think Liverpool aren't going to like us coming to see them at the weekend. I do think Pablo Felipe is a loss. I think we missed him against Bournemouth. I fancy he would have put one of those chances away. But we've got some really good players to come in. You know, I like Magassa. I like the team he's got working. He's that 4-3-3. It works. We've seen it work against Burnley, Newcastle. It looks like things are starting to click. And I go back, and I think Nuno's doing a really good job. And I go back and I look at that Leeds game and that Brentford game, and I just think, I mean, Leeds away is the killer, isn't it? You know, where he played Ollie Scholes right wing back, Wan-Bissaka left wing back, and it's just like, how crucial would even a point there? And that Forest game, for instance, as well, you know, he brought on Felipe and brought him on in midfield. And it's just like those two games there, there's so many ifs and buts. I just hope it's not too little too late. But he's doing a good job at the moment. I back him. I think if we go down, there's no point keeping him because the whole landscape of that team will change. They'll all go. We're not hanging on to many players in the Championship. You know, we'll have a new captain, we'll have a new back line, we'll have a new midfield, we'll have a new attack. Just start again, to be honest. It's really difficult. I mean, what do you think, James? Are we staying up?
I think we'll just do it. But what I'm worried about, and I've been saying it for weeks, is that we've got to win these games at the right times. We've got to win. Well, it's all about pressure. And I'll let Mark come in a minute, yeah? It's about pressure, right? Us winning these games is reasons why Spurs, Forest are shitting themselves and they've had to change their managers and things like that because they're throwing caution to the wind because they know West Ham are coming. One thing I will say with us, we are experts in this situation as West Ham fans. We've been in this situation so many times. We was in this situation in 2007 with the Great Escape then, and we got out of it on the last day at Old Trafford. I don't want it to go to the last day. I do think West Ham are going to have to go to a place and win, and let's go into a place and not expecting to win and win the game. I think with Nuno, for me, before I let Mark land on anything he wants to say, is that he has to win these big games in these big moments, and I'm worried about him in that moment, right? For instance, Wolves, when we play Wolves on the 11th of April, and I'm a sad prick, right? So I've got all the dates in my head, right? On April the 11th, we've got Wolves at the LS, right? We have to win that game. We can't draw that game. We have to win it. When we play Everton, which is, I think it's the 25th of April, we have to win it, and things like that. And these are, right, I don't want West Ham to get into the territory of basically saying, right, it's win or bust situation, right? We are in touching distance of these teams. Now we've got to overtake these teams, and that's the big question for me: is can West Ham overtake these teams? Because now they've drawn them in. Right, they've done the hard work by getting close to them. Now the final stage is to overtake them. Can they do it? What are you saying, Mark?
For me, it sort of becomes like teams with things to play for versus teams that don't. Like, because by the time we play Fulham, what are they playing for in the Premier League, really? Like, they're not playing. Are they? Are they going to get a European place? No, they're not going to get relegated. Okay, so like that's a game. By the time Wolves come to us, they'll probably mathematically be down by that stage. By the time we play against Everton, they don't have anything to play against, and it's a bit like you need 10 points to get in a playoff situation. The bloke in front of you is just racing you, but he's racing for nothing, and you're like, if I just get in front of this one person, I'm in. That's where I think we're at, and I think that momentum might be the thing that keeps us up. Not even just performances or Nuno or specific players, but just the fact that like it's every game's a cup final between now and the end of the season. Whereas some of the teams you're going to play against, and I know you could have said that about the Bournemouth game yesterday, but to me, not yesterday, rather Saturday, they were just solid, and we just didn't click into gear and get it over the line. But on another day, we could have won that game 2-0. 20 shots, almost 3 XG, and people hate XG, but it's a really important stat in football. We created enough that it came down to players in moments, not just making the right decision and finishing it. So, like, that one, I don't think it's on momentum or the club or anything like that. So I do see us staying up, but by 1 point, and it will go to the last game because we're going to have to beat Leeds. And hopefully they won't have anything to play for by then. The stadium will just be absolutely mental for one of the few times it's ever been like that. And we can just about get it over the line. But I think we have the momentum factor that no one else has got. And that last minute goal against Spurs, right, was a massively decisive one. Because them even drawing that or them winning that game, they're not even in this conversation now. And we single-handedly brought them into the conversation the moment that goal went.
I think, just to say this before I asked Rich something else, yeah. With the Spurs away game, when that goal went in, I was like, here we go now, right? The spark has been lit, right? I'll never forget the video I'd done after that game, right? Not the afterthought, but I done a video on the Sunday. And I said, right, that's the spark now, right? This is the moment where West Ham come into their own, right? I feel the next 4 games, if we can get out the next 4 games with 4 points or more, I'll be over the moon with that. I need to go into that April period against Wolves, Palace, Everton, and then we go to town, right? Pablo will be back, I reckon. I'm predicting the Wolves game. I reckon, because what it is, we play Villa, then there's an international break, and I think after that, it's the FA Cup game round there, if we qualify to the next round. So I'm predicting Pablo comes back for that running, right? And he comes back for that Wolves, Everton, and Palace game. I hope, I think we will do it. I've always said that. I've got strong belief that we can do this because I've seen West Ham in these moments before, and we've got more fight than these teams currently right now. It's just, I do worry a bit about Nuno in key games, right? Because it's not me being a hater, what people keep saying to me. It's that I've seen it before with him. I see it at Bournemouth away. I've seen it at fucking Brighton away. I've seen it, like, we've all seen it. Do you know what I mean? So that's the reason why I've got that sort of not negative standpoint, but I'm a bit reserved on him a little bit.
I just think the team wasn't in his image at that point, though, man. Like, honestly, I think like we've got to a point now where you can judge him. If he dropped like a Leeds level lineup now or something, you could be like, fucking hell, what is he thinking? But like, he was going through discovery. He was trying different things. Nothing had worked.
Yeah.
And now we have got 2 clean sheets. Right, we are not a team that have kept clean sheets for a long time. 2 of them back to back, to me, tells me that like the stability's there. And like, sometimes you'll want us to go and attack, but the reason we're even in a game is because of his pragmatism. So you have to balance them 2 things against one another. Like, it's easier to just say like attack or just defend.
Yeah.
Kind of, like I say,
I think anyone worried about style of play at the minute is ridiculous. But I think I disagree slightly on the recovery thing, just on the discovery thing, just simply because look, he's got the youth team staff right there. And anyone could have told him, don't play Ollie Scholes at right wing back. He's never played there once. It was just bizarre. But look, he's doing a good job now. You're right. The team's in his image. We look a lot better. I think him bringing in Hermansen recently was a really interesting, but a bit of a masterstroke. 2 clean sheets since he's come in as well. That was a huge call, Nuno, ex-goalkeeper. I think the one I just want to talk about, I was thinking about this the other day, James, that Spurs game, because you're right. That's the one that's given us hope, and we have got hope. I think West Ham fans are feeling really cautiously optimistic at the moment. I think there's a genuine chance we stay up with an informed team down there, but form can change so quickly. It doesn't guarantee it for the next 11 games. But if I ever see Thomas Frank in the pub, which is highly unlikely, if I ever see him in the pub, I owe that fellow a drink, because you look at that Spurs game, they're playing a completely out of form West Ham team. They're at home. We're probably the worst West Ham team. We got no hope of winning that game whatsoever. And I don't particularly remember us being good at set pieces or anything like that. But before the game, when we were practicing our shooting, you know, when the teams are doing that, he had the Spurs defence lined up on the 6-yard box, practicing defending corners at home against 19th place or 18th place West Ham, and for us to then score from a corner in the last minute, you know, you just think that what was he doing? I mean, truly one of the worst managers in terms of how poorly he did at Spurs.
Yeah,
a complete embarrassment. But thank God for him. And wouldn't it be hilarious if we're there on the last day of the season and those cunts from North London, excuse my language, I shouldn't have said that, get relegated and we stay up. I mean, that'd just be amazing. I don't want to see Nottingham Forest going down. You know, I've got a real soft spot for that team. I don't want to see them getting relegated. If it's us or them, it's got to be us staying up. But wouldn't it be amazing if Spurs go down on that last day? Oh my God.
Fucking hell. It'd be poetic. Right, before I let you go, Rich, yeah, got a question for you. What do you make of this sort of criticism of Jarrod Bowen for you? Because obviously this is the title of the video today. What are you saying about, because obviously Saturday got a lot of stick and I don't really understand why, really, if I'm being honest.
Nah. You look at this fella. He leads by example. Yeah, he is quiet. He is quiet. And I think there was a problem before in that team with no leadership. But I think that was across the whole squad. To be honest, that was squad building, and I'm not sure if we've necessarily got the answer to that. But I think Nuno's brought that together. But I look at him. He leads by example. He's clearly, and I thought this on Saturday, clearly carrying a knock. You know, I think he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look his fully fit self. And yet he's patching himself up. He's doing 90 minutes plus. He is going at it every single game, hell for leather, doing everything he can, fully committed to just getting this team over the line. Any West Ham fan who's having a go at Jarrod Bowen, for whatever reason, needs to give their head a serious wobble. If we had 11 Jarrod Bowens, we would not be in that position. You know, we are 11 players with his mentality, his mindset, his hard work, his ability, never be in this situation. Yeah.
I might as well ask you before you go. Obviously, you are famous amongst everyone. You was on TV. Have you been signing any autographs? And what made you come over to the no BS sign? Last time I spoke to you, wasn't in that camp.
No. To be honest, it's just a wind up. I've been on that side for a while, and the chants are great. You know, Cockney boys were on a bender.
Yeah.
I think it's a disgrace, really, the way this club's been managed for a long time, and it goes back to the stadium move, doesn't it? I mean, the best decision you ever made is not coming. You came once to the London Stadium. Have I got that right? And you said, "I'm not going back." Yeah,
no, I've never been.
Yeah,
never been once.
And to be honest, I tell you, it is torturous. It is torturous, and I've been there a few times this season. Where I've been a lot of times this season, and it's better now. It's a lot better, but it's just surrounded by tourists, and you just go, "What has happened to our club? You know, what has happened? This used to be a proper, you know, West Ham. You know what I mean? And now it's the complete opposite. It's more like West Ham, the football team." And I think the board have taken a lot of soul out of this club, and it's going to take a long time to bring that back. And the sad thing for me, and the reason why I'll be BS out regardless of what they do, if they go out and invest £1 billion, the reason why I'll be out is because fundamentally the West Ham that I introduced my children to as a result of them will be different to the West Ham that I was introduced to as a child. And not in any way either. You know, and that's really tough. That's really tough. That
is true. People are saying that Brady's on the way out. Yeah, I think she's one piece of the jigsaw. I think the kingpin of the situation is Sullivan for me. Always has been. Right, before I let you go, then, what are you saying about Brady, mate?
Well, you know me well. That's what are you saying about Brady is a loaded question, but I think look. I don't like The Apprentice anymore. I've stopped watching that. I'm boycotting. I think this was a matter of time. Someone that unpopular in that role, I think it's ridiculous that she's not stepped down sooner. And why now? Why now when the club's in trouble? You know, it's like the rats leaving the sinking ship. Look, I've got no respect for that lady. I've got no respect whatsoever for her. I don't give her any credit. And people go, no, she deserves credit for the deal for the stadium or some nonsense here. I mean, it's the worst stadium in the league. It's the worst stadium in the league. No two ways about it. We get no revenue outside of match days. It's a joke. She's shit, and I can't wait to see the back of her.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Rich, you take it easy, mate.
All the best,
All the
gents.
best, yeah. That's been Rich. Final word with you, Mark. What do you make with it with Brady?
See you later. I mean, I don't even care if Sullivan's scapegoating her and just throwing her under the bus as well, because he'll do that to anyone but himself. You know, her job is to commercially grow the club, which you could say she has done maybe for their profitability, but certainly not. They've never put a board in place, any kind of relationship with the fans they don't care about. Anytime she's been questioned, they've never admitted guilt on anything. They've never put their hands up and said, maybe we called that one wrong. Certainly not publicly. They might have done it in private meetings. So just, mate, good riddance to bad rubbish, man, because get someone in who gives a fuck, or just someone who's just capable of the job, that knows how to communicate with our fans. She's never cared about us. We're customers to her. So, yeah, see you later.
I think she's being thrown under the bus by Sullivan, but the Sullivan's the main one for me. I think we'll know really soon if Sullivan's about to leave this club or not. The one fear I have is he don't hand it over to his son. That's the one thing that I'm concerned about, because if he does hand it over to his son, then he's still going to be running the show through his son's sort of voice. Do you know what I mean? And mindset. But hopefully, the sooner that they're out the door, the better, right? I think the main concern for us right now is to stay in the league. Right, we stay in the league, right? Let's get that sorted out first, and then just go all out on them to get them out the door. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, I said this on a video last night to round this video up today, right? I said, I don't really even mention about Sullivan anymore. I really don't. I don't know if you noticed, Mark, but I don't even mention a fucking word about him anymore, because I don't have to now, because the word is on the street now that everyone wants him out. Let's get him out. And what everyone's been doing, whether it's like Hammers United, Cross Hammers, all the channels, everyone, the one thing I've learned is that when we can all come together when the time is needed, and the time was needed. And I'm glad she's going, but she's fuck all in my way. Sullivan's the one who runs the show, and until he goes, the moment he goes, then I will be at peace with it. Do you know what I mean?
There's a tangible groundswell of fans who are just like, it's across the board. Everyone wants him out now. Before there was arguments, and like, at least, you know, you're in the minority now. If you want him to stay as the custodian of our club, you're in the minority. And so a custodian's job, right, is to look after a building, keep it fucking standing, you know, dust it down, keep it going, keep the people inside it happy. He hasn't kept the people inside the stadium happy. He doesn't give a fuck. The building's crumbling down in certain areas in terms of the structure of a club. So at the end of the day, he's a bad custodian. However, even if you like him as a man, which I don't see what personality traits he has to make people fall in love with him, but even if you love his little Russian hats and you like the way he is, and you know, you've watched his porno from the 80s and seen some garish push and all that on the go from his productions, then good luck to you. But he's a bad custodian, and that's why we wanted him out. So it's really good to see across the board. You haven't got to push it anymore, mate. The good thing is, there's, like you say, it's gone up the ladder a little bit, and the rest.
It's all I've ever wanted. If I'm honest, Mark, just say this: it's all I've ever wanted is the fan base to look at it when I was looking at it years ago, right? And I've been looking at this for a long time. And I remember saying this on a video I'd done a while back. I said, I'm at peace with it now. I haven't got to mention it anymore, because like, other people are taking it over that are more.
You sleep soundly at night on a BS out pillow.
Nah,
they're pushing it for you now. You haven't got,
The thing is, I'm sort of at peace with it now. I can go, you know what? It's in good hands. West Ham are in good hands now, and there is good people behind the scenes who are working away at this. Even like the fans advisory board, like Hammers United. There's individuals out there that have worked their bollocks off to try and get West Ham to where they need to go. And I'm at peace with it, right? My focus now is West Ham staying in this league, right? Because my attitude is, and people take me the wrong way. Yeah, they look at me and think, oh, he's like fucking aggressive. He's this. He's swearing a lot. I am scared that if West Ham go down, Sullivan wins. That is it. Right? If we go down, Sullivan wins in the end, and I'm not prepared to see that man win, because if we go down, that sets us back at least 3 years. Do you know what I mean? We'd have to go down, right, start again, build a new side up, and I don't know where West Ham will be. And my attitude on this is I take this personally, right, because I've been through it for the last 10 years with Sullivan.
me and my mates talking about this the other day. Football's mental in the fact that other than your family and probably your belongings, if you're a materialistic person, I'm not. So something breaks, you just buy another one or whatever. But like, what do you love more than fucking West Ham? Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I've never thought I'm gonna have a tattoo, and I'm a couple of ciders deep in Paphos. I'm suddenly across to the tattoo shop getting the fucking badge on my arm. You know, I've timed that with us being shit, so I should have done it during the golden era. But that's what it's about. I love the club. So if you think about it, outside of our families and things like that, there are very few things we love as much as this. So when I see you going, I said to you in our WhatsApp group, even if we disagree on something, as long as you can understand where the other person's coming from. And I think, like, I'm not trying to be a fucking hippie or preach like too much utopian view to people, but as long as you can understand where they're coming from, like Damien's coming today and we've broadly agreed, but he said things I've disagreed with. I've probably said things he disagreed with. But as long as it's we love the club and we're together, you can walk a mile in another fan's shoes. I think we're getting a little bit better at that. We're certainly better at that than a lot of other clubs out there, ain't we? So that's a real positive for me.
Yeah, it really is, mate. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to Reeds on his own TV, hit notification bell and all that game. I'll be back.
Hype it up, boys. Hype. That's the latest one, isn't it,
mate? The whole
videos everywhere. I use all 3 of my hypes on this channel always.
Oh, God, mate.
Get your hypes on the go.
There you go. The hype thing. I always think of that fucking garage song.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, mate.
But, you know,
days, mate. Fucking channel you.
Bring back UK Garage. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, all that game, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thank you very much to Damien and Richard for coming on today. It's good to see Rich. He was a famous person the other day, and I was like stunned when I see him on my screens with the old BS out thing. But you know what? This is the moment, before I go, this was the moment I always wanted as a West Ham fan. And this is the moment that I'm looking at now and I'm seeing the future. Yeah, I'm seeing where West Ham can go. Right. If Brady's out the door, good riddance to her. She can go down the A13 and never ever return to the East London ever again. The main one is Sullivan. Right, we've got to get him out the door. And the sooner we get him out the door, the better it is for everyone. Let's hope sooner rather than later. Anyway, enough from me. Take it easy. Be safe. Be well. Be good. Peace.